Welcome to today's panel discussion on redefining the luxury travel experience. I'm Reena Abdul Wahid, your moderator for the session. Well, joining me today are Mr. Solah Mohamed, Chief Operating Officer at Crown & Champa Resorts, Mr. Abdulla Ghiyas, Chairman of Visit Maldives and President of MATATO, and Mr. Ashwin Handa, Senior Vice President and Operations at Atmosphere Co. Can we have the panelists on stage, please? I'm thrilled to be here with an esteemed panel of industry leaders who will be sharing their insights on how luxury travel landscape is evolving and what the future holds. Our goal today is to explore key trends, challenges, and innovations that are shaping the luxury travel with a special focus on personalization, sustainability, and maintaining high standards in an increasingly competitive market. It's an honor to have you all here. Let's dive into our conversation. Let's start by exploring the fundamentals of luxury in today's travel industry. Luxury travel has evolved significantly, and each of you has a unique perspective on this transformation. I'm sure our audience is keen to hear how you define luxury in your respective fields and what elements you believe truly elevate a travel experience beyond the standard. Sola, let's begin with you. How is luxury being redefined at Crown & Champa Resorts?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Hotelier Maldives, for inviting us to be part of the panel and also to share a little bit of our experience. In Crown & Champa Resorts, we have a luxury collection now where we have about 5 resorts, and I would highlight the ultra-luxury property that we have, Kudadu Maldives, where we say it is a timeless luxury, because I'm sure everyone will agree. The question now is how we identify what is luxury, because different people mean it in different ways. So in Kudadu, what we have is, it's only 15 residences, but we have private butlers for those, and also the guests can decide if they want to have breakfast at 7 o'clock at night, or if they want to have a spa massage at 4 a.m., which we have done. And so what we do is our teams work around the clock to make sure that we serve their need. And that's how we are doing it at the moment. And in all our luxury collections also, we do make sure that we personalize the guest experience to 100%. So that's how we are doing it.
Ashwin, how about you?
Hi, good afternoon. So before I start, I want to thank each one of you being here, because being in operations, I understand if we're talking about luxury, we're talking about hoteliering. I think each one of you have a huge role to play. So loud applause for yourselves, please. Thank you. Can you clap for yourselves? And I specifically wanted to talk about the fact I'm sitting on this chair today is because I have a lovely team of general managers who manage the resorts extremely well. So another round of applause for you guys. Well done. So coming back to luxury, I think a word which has been, honestly, abused more than being used over industries. First of all, it's very important to understand what luxury is and at what level are you talking about. To give you a small insight before I get into Atmosphere Core, luxury at a visionary state, luxury when you're doing a project, luxury when you're pre-opening a hotel, luxury when you're operating a hotel. So the terminologies and the thought process will vary at each level. And what's extremely important to know is, in case you can't put them all together, you will have a continuous problem while you're operating a resort of missing the niche market, what you're looking for. So one has to understand that first. So luxury is at multiple levels. And the second one is that there was a time when you had luxury resorts and you had a very specific area what luxury could be defined. Today, I think there is a luxury available at all levels, and the definition of luxury for everybody is absolutely different from the next person sitting next to you. It could be time, it could be space, it could be uniqueness, and it could be personalization. So these are the factors which I mentioned now are the core of Atmosphere Core. When we look at a resort, we built one, we run one.
Thank you for that. Ghiyas, from a broader perspective, What key elements do you see defining luxury travel today, particularly here in the Maldives? How is the Maldives standing ahead in this space?
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you as well for having me here this afternoon. It's always wonderful to be at the GM Forum. I know I've been introduced as two different roles, so I'll try. I was trying to make some notes and be prepared for this, but then in the morning when I was speaking to different people, people kept asking me different questions. So I thought I'll try to make this as informative and add value from Visit Maldives' point of view, as well as from the Travel Agents Association. From a broader perspective, what luxury means and how the Maldivian product has evolved in the last 52 years. I think today luxury is no more about, the two gentlemen rightly answered, it's not merely about opulence or high-end amenities. It is about being personalized. It's been about transformative experiences. I understand it's a word that has been, like the gentleman mentioned, overused and abused as well. And if you look at the Maldivian case study, especially in the last several months, I got a chance to speak to various different individuals from various other tourism boards and destinations. They keep asking us, what does Maldives do different? What sets Maldives apart? I think other than the key words again in the world now, they use the three S's, the sun, sea, sand, and the beautiful beaches that Maldives has to offer. But I think it's always been the privacy product that, especially if you look at what happened in 2020 with the pandemic, why Maldives stood out was the naturally social distanced islands. And if you look at what we are good at is the exclusivity. And everyone inspires to be Maldives by trying to offer that high yield product. So I don't know, I'm not, I think, the right person to define luxury, because one might say luxury is this and might not be the same for someone else. But as a destination point of view, I think it has been the one island, one resort concept that has stood out, that has been exclusive. Maldives has been able to be that once in a lifetime destination that people aspire to visit. And that's the position I think Maldives really needs to focus, because that is where the yield is. That's where every other destination wants to be. It's been we've been very lucky to enjoy this for many years. So I think what we need to understand is how do we maintain our position in this market space going forward.
Thank you for sharing that. When it comes to trends and innovations, we know that new trends and technology are reshaping the guest experience. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the latest trends you've observed and how technology is influencing luxury travel. Ashwin, can you share some of the technological advancements that are making a difference at Atmosphere Core properties and how these innovations enhance the guest experience?
Okay, so at Atmosphere Core, first of all, we balance technology to an extent with a human-centric approach. So I would be very honest to say we're not the pioneers in technology, and in fact, we have kept it that way, because I think what's going to happen over the time is the technology should not take over human beings. The human beings should take over technology. So having said that, in our company, we ensure we have enough technology and we keep upgrading ourselves to whatever extent, whether it's bandwidth. One of the examples today taken by my friend was about having a cloud-based system. We already have that in place for ourselves and so on and so forth. We don't talk about it. What's important is that try to understand how much of technology needs to enter which space. It's just, and I also heard that 100 years down the line, a company or a enterprise would cease to exist if you were not technology compliant. So the answer here is that it's a fine balance. And yes, something is inevitable that all of us will have to learn to live with it, then fight it. But in Atmosphere Core, we have taken a huge amount of initiatives, from cloud-based softwares to interacting with our guests on softwares, different level of spaces. And I think the way forward is that we're going to consolidate the same and see if we can enhance. But as we speak, we have enough and more. I would say, if I had to count, around 13 to 14 softwares parallelly running in our resorts as of now, which either relates to back-end operations or the friend and customer.
Thank you. Ghiyas, from your position with Visit Maldives and MATATO, what emerging trends are you seeing in the luxury travel market? How are these shaping the Maldives' approach to attracting luxury travelers?
From the time I saw this topic, I went and I've looked at least about 20 different uh, publications or 20 different articles on trends on luxury and it's very interesting to see that one man's trend is not similar as that. I mean, I read someone, I in fact reached out to my friend who wrote that article on Skift. He had a very beautiful written article last year on the luxury trends for this year. And then I saw another article on Forbes, again, talking about a different set of trends. So I don't know, I was at least thinking to myself, does these trends differ from one publication to another? Or is it, I mean, it's a good question to ask yourself. But from a Maldives perspective, I think in the morning we saw a very interesting presentation by Danata, and then we also saw some panel discussions talking, I think Halil also mentioned about multi-generational travel. I mean, Maldives started off as a destination that was solely for honeymooners. Over the years, it has expanded into divers, it has expanded into other segments now. Multi-generational travel has become something that a lot of resorts have started to embrace. A lot of resorts are building rooms that are specific with 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms that can offer that experience to big families. I think this is definitely a trend that has been seen across. And another trend is obviously a lot of people has been talking about wellness, even the gentleman from Tanata. But I think it's specific to each destination and it's specific to different timing. I mean, the whole, since the pandemic disruption, travel patterns have definitely disrupted to what one might not imagine. But coming back to what I foresee for Maldives, I think it is specific to each market. And going forward, I will say, I wish I had a crystal ball to say what I can see, what would happen next. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong to say this, but I feel it changes according to the timings. And for Maldives, I think what we want to embrace is the diversity we want to drive. I mean, I'm shamelessly not trying to promote, again, Visit Maldives, but we talked about what can we do trying to attract not the travelers that's coming presently, but how we can expand this space, how we can expand this base so that we can attract high-yield customers. And this is something that we are very much focusing on, whether it is sports-based tourism, whether it is medical tourism, whether it is educational tourism, or even film-based tourism. These are sectors that we are trying to embrace, and we are trying to, again, make sure that it is beneficial to the destination, it is beneficial to all our partners, and making sure that we attract the right segment in these markets.
My next question is about personalization and customization. Personalization has become a cornerstone of the luxury experience. It's no longer about offering beautiful locations or services, but about tailoring every detail to meet the unique preference of each guest. Solah, what are some of the ways Crown and Champa resorts personalize experience for their guests? Could you share some specific example of customization that really stands out?
So in CCR Luxury Collection, we have the resort apps for each island where the guests, the time they book the holiday, they can already start booking the activities. And where we have the personal butler services, butlers will be in contact with the guests before they arrive. And I think now the trend, if you look at, let's say, Emirates Airline, they will pick you up from your home or wherever you are to the airport, and that experience is elevated now. And we are trying to bring that proactiveness to our guest experience, and I'm sure all the hospitality leaders who are here will agree with me that we have to work very hard, making sure every individual guest is treated individually, because we don't say now guest and then, but we also address the guest by their names. We have a big portion of our business is repeat customers that we are also taking care of them. Unlike the big international brands, we do take care of them personally. We know them in first generation, second generation, now third generation, then the stories are continuing. And we are very proud to be part of that, and that is the human aspect that we keep to personalize. And also with the technology, what we have started doing is before the guests arrive to the resorts, they can also check in, making sure their long-haul flights and all the travel journey is reduced. And we do most of our resorts like Kagi, for example, we do the guest room check-ins, and those things are very much practiced. And so that's how we are differentiating. And also when the guests, some of them book when they are still in-house. So we make sure even we offer them to keep their stuff or the rooms that they prefer, and that's how we are differentiating.
That's interesting. Ashwin, from an operational perspective, how do you balance the need for personalization with the operational complexities of running multiple luxury properties?
Well, I think, as the gentleman answered about having a proactive approach, but I think what differentiates Atmosphere Core in our resorts in this segment is we're continuously evolving and trying to pick up every moment of truth, what the guest could probably want and anticipate. And I think that's where what lies as the magical formula. So it's not about the person who's running the resort or the operations head. It's about the 3,000 colleagues which are working. They got to be trained, and they're continuously looking at the fact, what can they pick at any point in time which is going to become a magical moment or a memory for the guest to stay. I always say, end of the day, a good vacation is when you're able to give the guest a suitcase which is full of memories. So having said that, in our resorts, especially Uzen and so on and so forth, the whole attempt is to pick up these points, and they're relatively quite a number and evolving and all the time. And that's where we differentiate ourselves, considering what luxury would mean.
Thank you. Now there's I would say there's a growing pressure for luxury travel to align with sustainable practices. And it's interesting to see how the industry is balancing eco-consciousness with maintaining high-end experiences. I'm curious to hear how your resorts are addressing sustainability without sacrificing luxury, and what specific initiatives you put in place. Solah, how are CCR balancing eco-friendly initiatives with maintaining high-end luxury standards?
Well, sustainability is another overused term, similar as luxury, right? For us, the biggest challenge is, I think most of the GMs will agree, we do a lot in our resorts, but then maybe the lagoon next to us will start reclaiming. And then it is unanswered question how we promote Maldives as a sustainable destination. And what we do within the resorts, if we can roll it out to the local communities and to the country, I think we will be standing out compared to any other country in the world, because how our forefathers lived here without using a single plastic until 1960s. If we go back to that, that is the way, I think, forward for us, for our existence. But coming back to your question about sustainability within our resorts, we have invested, our owners have invested a lot of money on renewable energy. We have almost every resort now down to 50%. We have some big resorts where we have 200, 300 rooms where we have cut down the diesel bills to 50% now. And we are also, at the moment, as we speak, we have a lot of solar installations that's going on. And then we have also the hot water systems where like rain has been frequent now last year and this year. We have also put some technology into where we can make sure that within the time the guests want to shower, the hot water is straight. So we have put a circulation pump that we have installed to our solar panels in the water. And all our resorts, it's been many years that we haven't used single use of plastic, except the ones that comes with our HACCP standard with the food coming into the islands. But apart from that, we use a lot of grey water for the planting, and we have also very good irrigation systems in the gardens. We also make sure, and we also look at the daily water consumption to all our resorts. Every day I get the reports, and then if there is an issue that I can always ask the team. And also when we purchase now in the guest amenities and so on, it's been years now, we have stopped using even plastic toothbrush and so on, and we reuse a lot of straws, and we don't even use the paper straws now, but we do the reusable straws, and those kind of, there is plenty that I can talk about, and I think it's very good also to see the industry adopting now to that. But like I said, it is up to the policy levels to represent Maldives as a sustainable country, and it wouldn't help without everyone, all the stakeholders involved. And also one big and very proud moment for us is within our thousands of employees, majority of us, our workforce is Maldivians, and we have been developed to take these positions, been to the universities, and our vision from the all the company-wide owners involved is that to develop our younger generations and attract them to the industry. And having said that, we also have a lot of workers comes from different countries also who stick with us for a long term. So we take them also part of us, and we develop them, and also we maintain them as part of our sustainability.
Those are great initiatives. Ashwin, can you share some of the initiatives that Atmosphere Core Resorts have undertaken to maintain this balance?
Quite similar to what the gentleman mentioned, but I think what we focus is, when we start a business, we look at sustainability at the core. And we have an annual report to which represents and talks about how many liters of water, electricity, what's the consumption from solar panels, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that when you talk about sustainability, first of all, it needs to be understood. It is nothing to do with luxury only. It needs to be put at all levels and all type of resorts and collectively as a community. In fact, I was privileged to give a presentation last year where we spoke about this, and I thought the time has come when you move from corporate social responsibility towards individual social responsibility. I think when everybody is going to think about this, then it's going to make a difference. Otherwise, mostly it's left to the board level of companies and the government to handle this. But the fact remains it's everybody's responsibility. At our place, we have quite similar figures as mentioned in terms of what we are looking at. And then we have huge plans, and I'm sorry I can't disclose them now, but in case that comes through, it's going to make a huge difference to our total thought process of how we use fuel going forward. Thank you.
Some of the challenges in the luxury sector. Maintaining luxury standards comes with unique challenges, especially when catering to diverse cultural expectations. I'd love to hear your thoughts on some key hurdles you've faced and how you manage them. Solah, what are some of the key challenges that you've faced in maintaining luxury across the board?
I think consistency is what we are looking at. We use a lot of data from Power BI to Revinate, and we make sure every individual guest is looked after. And those days, in the earlier days in hotel industry, even in Maldives and elsewhere, when you check out, you always fill the question and then you leave. So what we have done is, upon arrival, the arrival experience, we develop certain touch points where we understand the guest need, and also we have the social media now. We can monitor the guests. If they're unhappy, obviously they will make sure the whole world knows about it. So we make sure we maintain the consistency. So our GMs who are here and who are unable to attend today, they know the works that they do behind it to make sure the buffets are well maintained. And we do also audit ourselves. We have HACCP standards that we have implemented across the group now, and every year or every 2 years we do the audit, and then also we have within our in-house the HACCP inspectors who will maintain the standards, and also overall guest experience. And the biggest challenge right now we have is the weather, because when it rains, the guests are in the rooms and there are not much activities. So we have started investing now in the during the rainy times in indoor activities for the guests, making sure that we achieve that satisfaction level, and I'm very proud to say that most of our resorts, we have over 90% of excellence. And for us, we have from the entry level to the ultra luxury resorts. And for the way how we see it is, it's the image of the Maldives, right? Because we are a very proud Maldivian company, and we also take a great deal that making sure every guest leaves happy. And of course, if we drop the ball or sometimes if we don't meet the guest expectation, we also have a lot of emails back and forth and making sure we compromise and settle, and that's how we are maintaining it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ashwin, with Atmosphere's diverse international guests, how do you manage the challenge of delivering a consistent luxury experience while catering to different cultural expectations?
Well, you'll be happy to note that we have a very multicultural colleague base to start with. And having that, it helps to handle the guest, as you mentioned. But I think what's most important about luxury is about coming with unique experiences all the time and keep evolving. And I think as a company, we do that very well. Whether it's our general managers, our departmental heads, the butlers especially, they keep focusing on the fact what they can pick and how they can make a difference to that guest. And as I mentioned earlier, luxury is now no more confined to a particular star rating of the resort, because the guests have a different multiple thoughts on luxury, and it's a continuous process. And I think that we do that very well, which is also powered by a value which we have in our company. I don't know if some of you have heard, it's called Joy of Giving, which is basically an empowerment tool available with each of our colleagues, including anybody, when it comes to providing unique experiences, ensuring the satisfaction is only 100% and not short. I think in our company, we have been given that leverage and privilege to utilize that, and that makes a huge difference.
That's good to hear. When we look into the future of luxury travel, it's exciting to think about how the industry will continue to evolve. I'd love to hear your vision for what's next and how the Maldives can keep its place as the leading luxury travel destination. Ghiyas, from your perspective, what steps should the Maldives take to continue being at the top luxury travel destination in the upcoming years?
I think before talking about the future, we need to ask ourselves where we are right now and be realistic, where we've come. Let me share with you a quick stat. Maybe many of you might not know. Year to date, number of private jet movements at permits that has been given from January to now is about 990 till September. Last year, the same time you look at, it was 1,200. So we are down by almost 200 permits less, which is about, each permit is basically 2 movements basically. So we are down by about 400 movements. If you look at 2022 to 2023, we were down by about 1,000 permits. Again, there's a decline. And now one may argue that in post-pandemic, there were a lot of private jet travel that came to the Maldives. There was a certain increase. People did not have a lot of places to travel. But this consistent decline in the so-called ultra-luxury jet movements to the Maldives is something that I think we need to be worried about. Now, a few weeks ago, I was here in the very same venue. We were looking at a presentation by JLL and STR, and they talked about, I mean, we very proudly say we've hit 1.8 million tourists last year. But one might ask you whether we have maintained the post-pandemic occupancies, and the answer is no. Maldives has still not reached the post-pandemic occupancies. Now, the question was, has Maldives reached the post-pandemic ADRs or revenues? Again, the answer is no. So these have been some very interesting metrics. Now, when I came on board to visit Maldives, this is one thing that we talked on day one. Let's look at different KPIs. It's easy always to go after surface arrivals, but unfortunately, this can be also very misleading. So we are trying our best, and we are very committed to understanding there's more to the story rather than just looking at the arrival numbers. We're looking at ADRs, we're looking at average stays, we're looking at other different metrics to understand, okay, these are also key important things that we need to keep in mind. when we look at the destination. And when we proudly talk about Maldives being a premier destination, Maldives being an exclusive destination, but I think one of the over the years, we've very much, again, like I said, I'm wearing two hats. Key thing is we are also a lobbyist. We've talked about this over the years as well. But now I think it's, rather than talking about it, is actioning based on what we have also lobbied over the years. And coming to that, I think we want to be very clear on our messaging globally. We want Maldives to remain exclusive. We want across the board. I mean, I'm not saying the Maldivian ecosystem has to have different products, for sure. I totally support that, we totally agree. But in terms of a strategy, in terms of branding, we want Maldives to keep that exclusivity. And I think that's the position we want to see Maldives maintain. And this is something that we are working on. So that if you look at any different segment, we may want them to have the highest yields. That's the key word, yield. Whether it is a guest house, whether it is a liveaboard, whether it's a hotel or a high-end resort or even mid-range resort. We want everyone to have high yields. And I think that is the way forward. And that's something that we're working on. We're looking at markets where we can get the highest yield. We're looking at educating the stakeholders in the industry, looking at how you can prolong the average stays. Look at targeting guests that want to come and stay for 10 nights, 14 nights. Looking at offering them experiences so that they can stay longer with you. So I think this is something as a destination we need to rethink, and this is something that as a tourism board we're working on. And I'm very confident we will definitely get there, and we'll have a lot of good, exciting insights and information to share in the coming months on how we're going to get there.
We look forward to hearing all of that as well. Ashwin, how is Atmosphere Co preparing for the future of luxury travel? And what new trends do you foresee playing a major role in shaping the guest experience?
Well, firstly, just continuing with what this gentleman mentioned just now, we must be very positive about Maldives, because if you look at the branded space, we have only 40,000 to 45,000 beds available as a country, which means it's a huge, huge opportunity to grow, and that's going to build up whether you get the airport first or whether it starts happening. For me, if I've understood correctly, the tourism has been only for 50 years. And I think from a country's perspective, that's quite nascent. So having said that, I think that as the future is concerned, Maldives has lots to offer. Now, having said that, the fact it has lots to offer, it has a lot to offer at different price points and different spaces. So is the luxury. So coming to Atmosphere Core, we have looking at 5 ultra-luxury resorts coming our way in next 2 years. And they're going to be very different from what we've been doing and what you would perceive and would anticipate. As I mentioned that beginning of the session, that once we look at a resort, we look at the vision first, and we associate that vision to whether it's going to be a luxury, upscale, mid-scale resort, followed by, that's the way the whole concept is designed, and that's the way the pre-opening team is nurtured, and that's the way we operate our resorts. So there's quite a few luxury resorts coming our way in future. So that's our luxury space. Thank you.
Thank you for those insightful responses. I'd like to open the floor to our audience for any questions. We have about 5 to 10 minutes. If you can raise your hand, we'll pass you the microphone. I don't think we have any questions. Okay, before we wrap up, I'd like to ask each of you for a final thought. What advice would you give to an emerging luxury travel destination looking to establish themselves in this market? And how can the industry stakeholders collaborate to elevate the luxury travel experience, particularly here in the Maldives?
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
A very simple formula. Look at space. When you look at luxury, space does not define the length and the breadth. Space defines as my place. And once you're able to attach that to uniqueness, you'll be able to create a situation which will lead to a luxury experience. And most of us often mistake, it's not about luxury and the cost attached to it. Luxury is expensive. The fact that you have a unique space to play with, you're able to demand a higher rate. And that's why luxury places are able to command that. A good example of that is a person who takes a flight from New York to, let's say, London in a business class, while a person who sits in the economy class, the good news is both of them going to make it at the same time. So obviously that's not the differentiator, because it's not that they're going to reach earlier. Okay, they might have certain privileges while they get down, but as for the flight timing is concerned, I think it remains the same. So it boils down to the fact that if you're not able to make unique experiences and create my space, luxury will cease to exist. Vice versa, if you're able to do that, you'll continue to come up with luxury experiences.
Yeah, I think for me the future is what we have done so far, our previous generation to bring us the industry for 50 years is they have listened a lot to the partners. They have listened a lot to the guests. And that is, I think, how we have come across last 50 years. So for the future, what we need to do is in this business, hospitality is about always serving other people and crafting that experience. And I think what we need is that we got to be still humble. We are a luxury brand, but we still need to make sure that we deliver what the market is demanding. And I'm sure most of you who are attending the trade shows, and especially Ghiyas, who has been around for a while, market is a battleground now, and everyone fights. And the most dangerous thing for us is to go to that mass. And mass tourism hasn't brought any good to the people who has done it. And the destinations are now wide open, that where any corner of the world is accessible, and that's where the challenge is also for us. And obviously we are in the country, and our business, any company will be impacted, and that's where I think even we see the drain of ADRs and occupancy, because if we look at the luxury products like either Rolex or LV, you will never see them putting any discount on their windows, because their strategies, and these are very old products where they maintained their standards and the quality and the demand. And I think that's where we have the opportunity to maintain us as a luxury destination, but providing a very good opportunity for each individual who would want to be part of this business. And if we can do that, I think our future is very bright. And also we look at the current change in human behaviors, and with globalization now most of our cultures are becoming the same. Our need for enjoyment, everything is becoming very flat and very similar, where we also look at the multi-generation holidays. And we recently opened a 5-star resort called Javakara, which we particularly focus on families, and it has been a big success so far since it's been a year by October. And what we are doing is we are focusing on the little guests, little guests, who we make sure we understand them. And we have seen already within this 1 year, we already have repeaters who come because of the kids club and the kids activities. And Maldives is slowly changing that dynamic of the honeymoon and couple destination. But we also have within our portfolio some resorts where we have adults only, like 18 years plus, 15 years plus. And those are also very good for people who want peace of mind, who lives a very busy city life to get away. And that's how we are doing ourselves. But it all depends on also at a broader level the decisions that we make today for the next 50 years of Maldives. Thank you.
What's really interesting is almost just a week ago, I was stuck on an island in Sanya in China due to the typhoon. I was there for an event on coastal countries, island nations. There were about 14 different heads of tourism boards from Mauritius to Fiji to the Pacific Islands. And almost every person kept asking us the same question, or asked the Maldivian team the same question. What we were doing different. And the funny thing was we were stuck because the airport was closed for 2 days, and morning, afternoon, evening, every time, again, they're asking us Maldives. And it was interesting. They've been even paying MasterCard and Visa to see what more people were spending in the Maldives. So I was just baffled to hear them think so highly of the Maldives, what we've been doing here. I told them that I don't think we as Maldivians think that we are the benchmark globally for this. But in the luxury space, they all believe that we are one of the market leaders, or we are the market leader. And that similar advice that I had for them, I said, we all can have, unfortunately, the same hardware, because they can buy the same product that we can. But I think everyone today wants to compete in what's the software. And I think it's us, it's the service. And that's, I think, the only place that we can now differentiate ourselves. And I think going forward, that's an area that we really need to work on, us, being Maldivians or the service sector, the real people who work in the sector. So I think that is where the future lies.
Well, thank you to our incredible panelists for sharing your expertise today, and thank you to our audience. It's clear that the future of luxury travel is exciting, dynamic, and full of opportunities. I hope today's discussion sparked new ideas and perspectives for all of us. Thank you.